is a Bramble Jam podcast. Hi, I'm Bran. I'm dreaming of a white Christmas, and I love Christmas movies.
I'm Alonso, and I will take my Christmas kicks wherever I can get them. And this
is a Deck the Hallmark podcast. Yes, it is. Hello, everybody. Welcome to Deck the Hallmark. It's a Monday, a brand new week of Deck the Hallmark content for you.
Woo!
And I think we got a good one. I think we got a good week of stuff.
Excellent.
For the people out there. But the only right way, the good and right way to start things off is with Christmas and is with me and Alonso talking about Christmas. And I can't wait for it. Alonso, happy Monday to you.
Happy Monday. Yes, nothing says the Easter season like Christmas movies.
That's exactly right. Now, it's very exciting. This is the last Monday of April.
Wow.
And we are just chugging right along, which means, Alonso, that after this week, we only have 2 more months of this in this context.
Yes. Christmas in July is right around the corner.
Right around the corner. This year's been flying by. Alonso, correct me if I'm wrong, but you've been getting back to the theaters.
I have been, yeah. After a very spotty record of, pretty much 2020, no. After about March. And then, 2021 was a series of false starts. It was like, oh, yay, vaccinations. Went back to the movies. Delta. Didn't. Then, booster. Okay, back to the theaters. And Omicron. And then somewhere around the, Marchish, I guess, of this year was finally like, okay, maybe. I'm not nearly as trusting as I have been in the past, but I am giving it my best shot, keeping my N95 on, trying to not have to eat or drink while I'm in the theater. And both press screenings and buying tickets and stuff. But, ideally, if I'm going to buy tickets and stuff, I want to go on a weekday matinee where no one's going to be there and I don't have to sit near anybody. But yeah, this is the world now and I'm just going to make it work.
You went and saw the important movies like X, the things that you gotta see in the theaters.
Well, the Breakfast All Day audience really wanted us to review it. And of course, literally minutes after I bought my ticket, they said, oh, hey, it's going to be streaming in 3 days. I was like, okay. But,
are you someone though that if given the chance you'd rather see it on the big screen, or does it not at this point does it not matter to you?
I mean, I might take it on a title by title basis, but overall I would say sure, given the option, of course I want to see it in the theater. Of course I want to see it where, the lights are down and it's silent and everyone has turned their phone off and you can really kind of lose yourself in a movie, but I've gotten pretty good at watching stuff at home because I was doing that before, even before the pandemic, between whether I was watching stuff for film festivals or just smaller indie movies that couldn't afford to rent a theater and have a press screening, they would just send you a link, So, I can give a movie my full attention and take it for what it is, even if I'm seeing it small. But yeah, all things being equal, would love to. Have you been? Are you going back to the theater?
Yeah, I've been back, and it's really nice. I have such a hard time. I don't know what it is. It's just a hurdle in my mind when I know that a movie has been in the theaters. I have such a hard time just watching it at home.
Really?
It's the reason why I still haven't seen West Side Story. I didn't get to see it in the theaters, and I can't. I just
it was designed for the
Okay. And it's not totally fair to anybody because I know there's movies that are going straight to streaming now that I'll watch because it's on Netflix. But what was it? Project Adam? Is that the
Adam Project? Yeah,
Adam Project. I watched that movie, and the whole time I'm just should have been in the theaters. I just keep getting frustrated. So I love the theater so much that I have a really tough time, and it's almost like it's my superpower that I just love the theater so much, but it's also the worst thing about me because it drives my wife nuts. She's like, let's just watch this. I'm like, I can't do it, babe. Sorry. Do it without me. I can't get over it.
I mean, unfortunately, back in ye olden times, before there was like VCRs and cable TV, it was not uncommon that most, medium to big sized cities had repertory theaters. And so they would show not just like old movies like, oh, let's go see Casablanca, but like movies from like a year or two earlier and bring them back for another look and another chance to see them on the big screen. And so I hear you. I definitely, given the choice, given my druthers, want to see it projected. But at the same time, if the choice is, watching it at home or not watching it at all, I'm going to watch it at home because I still want to have the experience. Are you taking your kids to movies yet? Or
there hasn't really been anything out for them. We went and saw. We'll get there in just a second. But there hasn't really been anything for them that I've been like, yes, this is good for a 4-year-old.
You weren't camping out for Sonic 2 tickets or anything?
No, I don't think you would appreciate everything that it is. But that does bring us to today, Alonso.
Okay.
Today we are watching The Polar Express. I've waited long enough.
Okay. I knew this day was coming.
I think it's time. The last time that I brought my kid to the theater was to watch The Polar Express around Christmas time. They brought it back, and I was like, this is going to be great because he does like this movie, and we can go on the big screen, and it'll be wonderful. And we had popcorn, and it was a delight. And I actually love when they bring movies back and they put in I just think it's so much fun. Sure. But Polar Express, I feel like everyone knows where I stand on this movie at this point. Yeah. But I am ready. I think I'm in a place where I can have a conversation about it.
Okay.
And I would like for you to rewatch it with an open mind and with like your best, like, I don't know, brand shoes. Like, just try to get in my space, see what I see.
What are my brand shoes? Are they like Orlando Magic kicks or what are we talking here?
Yeah, they are. It's just the shoes that you wear that make you go, this must be how Brand sees the world.
They curl up and have a little bell on them.
Yeah, that's exactly right. They're elf shoes. I want you to try to see what I see.
I will do my best.
Look past the creepy animation.
That's a tall order, but
maybe just listen to this movie. Don't watch it.
Get the book on tape of the originals.
Yes.
All right. For you, and
thank you.
For few others, for you, I will watch this movie again.
It's gonna be great. We're gonna take a quick break. We'll be right back, and we'll talk about the Polar Express here on Deck the Homework. Yes, we have gotten on the Polar Express, made our journey to the North Pole, and we're back home, ready to talk about it. I'm at a loss for how excited I am. Whatever, like a really good word is for it.
You're bubbling over.
Bubbling over. We're gonna have a real bubbly sesh. What?
No.
This movie premiered originally at the Chicago International Film Festival.
Mm-hmm.
You ever been?
I've never been to that one. No.
Is it still a thing?
Never even heard of it. It's one of the older ones in the U.S. actually.
SIF, not a good.
Actually, KIF maybe because SIF is what people call the Seattle International Film Festival.
Fair, so. Yeah. This is a KIF. This is a KIF situation. Yeah. It premiered October 13th, 2004, and then a month later to everybody else, November 10th, 2004, and it went a little something like this. I want to introduce you to just a boy. We don't need to give him a name. Doesn't matter what his name is, but he is a boy. And it's Christmas Eve, and he's at a real loss because he's starting to not believe in Santa Claus anymore. This is what we would call a crucial year. What happens this year will change the course of his life forever. And that is why the Polar Express gets involved. For some reason, the process is unknown, but the Polar Express, Santa, the North Pole, chose this boy to be picked up by the Polar Express to go to the North Pole, along with other children, most of which don't have a name. And on their way, they get into some shenanigans, like running on top of the train, the ice cracking and having to go back and forth But they make it, and that's the important thing. They make it to the North Pole, but then more shenanigans happens. They start poking around in places they shouldn't be poking around. And they end up getting in the gift sack, Santa sack, and going up, and then they come down, and it's a whole thing. And ultimately, Santa comes out for the big reveal of Santa Claus, and the elves are just losing their freaking minds. I mean, I know they probably see this guy on a regular basis, but it's Christmas Eve, y'all. Santa's here.
I think anybody who's had to go to like an all-employee meeting knows how to fake that enthusiasm for the ball.
I mean, Bublé's playing. I don't know what you want me to do. And but boy, who is trying to decide if he believes in Santa Claus or not, is like he can't see. The elves are like stacked on top of each other. He can't get a good angle. And then one of the other kids looks at him and says, "Aren't those bells beautiful?" And he's like, "I can't hear the bells." And that's when he realizes that something horribly wrong is going on with him. And that thing that's horribly wrong is he doesn't believe. He doesn't have faith in Santa, therefore can't hear bells. And so a bell comes flying at him in slow motion. He grabs the bell and he says, "I believe. I believe." And suddenly he can hear the ringing of the bell, all before seeing Santa Claus.
Yes.
And then once he begins to hear the bell, Santa Claus comes up. He's able to see Santa face to face. He then is given the opportunity to get the first gift of Christmas, which is a big to-do there in the North Pole. He whispers this to Santa that he wants the bell to remember this whole thing by. Puts it in his pocket. Uh-oh, there's a hole in his pocket from the beginning of the movie. Can you believe this stuff? Can you believe this stuff?
Who would have thought that the director of Back to the Future would be setting things up at the beginning of the movie that would matter later at the end of the movie?
So true. And so he gets on the train. All the kids are like, "Let's see the bell." Bell's not there. He's real bummed. He gets dropped off back at his house. He wakes up the next morning, and he goes down, and Christmas is there. He's very excited, and he gets some things that he's looking for. But then he sees a little box. He opens up that box, and what's there? It's a bell. He can hear the bell. His sister can hear the bell. His parents can't hear the bell. Gets into some questions. We don't need to talk about it right now. And he's very excited about this. He believes in Santa now, and he says that he forever could hear the bell despite other people not being able to hear the bell. And that, my friends, was the Polar Express. And there's hot chocolate.
Boy, howdy.
I wouldn't leave it out. You can't leave out the hot chocolate. Oh, you got it. All right, let's talk about this movie, Alonso. I have been long ridiculed by the likes of you and Dan for how much I adore this movie, the fact that I watch it on Christmas Eve and all that stuff. But I'll allow you, now that you've rewatched it through I asked you to just go into it trying to see what I see. And so I now ask you, how did that go?
I guess I get what it is that you get out of this movie.
That's not bad. I'll take that.
And I mean, were you 12 when you saw it when it came out, or did you catch up with it later?
No, I was a kiddo. Yeah.
Okay, so this still falls in the umbrella of was it great or were you 8? This movie, Bran, God, this movie is, first of all, I love the Chris von Allsburg book that it's based on. It's very sweet. It's a lovely little children's book that runs about 30, 40 pages, as children's books do, and was never intended to be stretched into a full-length feature film. I think you could have made a really lovely half-hour TV special out of it. The way that, The Grinch became one, it's just that's enough story, and that's enough, stuff that happens in the story to make that work. As a movie, I was reminded that Robert Zemeckis was the guy who thought that A Christmas Carol is all well and good, but it really needed more carriage chases. There is so much shenanigans, as you call it in this movie, so much trying to grab things that are flown out the window, or run across the top of the train, or stopping the train, or starting the train, or falling in the bag, or figuring it's none of it needs to be there. None of it adds anything except like we got to kill time because otherwise we have 20 minutes of story about a kid who goes to the North Pole, believes in Santa, and comes home. So that just all feels super stretched out and padded. The animation is horrible, yes. Not just the famously dead-eyed children who are the stuff of nightmares, but also even just the way that like objects are depicted, I think is often really ugly. And part of that is just that, like, obviously, you know, CG animation has improved by leaps and bounds in the, you know, almost 20 years since this movie came out. But I was stunned at how cruddy it looked, like in so many ways that I had kind of forgotten.
Wasn't this like groundbreaking at the time? Like, because it was motion capture.
Motion capture, yes, very new at the time, and they've gotten a lot better about the eyes not being so like completely dead. You know, like you look at like when you see a Marvel movie and they show you a character suddenly being 20 years younger, they're probably using a similar kind of technology as this. And it's, you know, it still has room for improvement, but it's better. This is firmly in what we call the Uncanny Valley. I don't know. Do you know this expression?
No.
So the idea is that you could have like a photograph of a boy and you look at that and you go, okay, that is a human boy. And then you could have like a stick figure drawing of a boy's face and be like, okay, that is a drawing of a boy. The Uncanny Valley is when you get so close to the real thing, but you fall just short enough that all you see is all the ways where it doesn't work, where it isn't a real boy, and it's disconcerting. This movie lives in the Uncanny Valley. Everything is just, you're always looking at it and thinking, I know what that's supposed to be. I know what this is supposed to look like, but it just looks creepy. I did not know, however, did you know who the motion capture model for the lead boy is?
For the lead boy?
Yeah.
No.
Josh Hutcherson.
I thought Josh Hutcherson was the one for Billy, the other kid.
No. He was the one for the main kid, according to Wikipedia, which I was news to me. This was before he was like in Hunger Games and stuff.
Right.
So yeah,
pre-PETA.
Pre-PETA, exactly. So yeah, I find this movie off-putting to look at. I could see where, did you by chance when you saw it as a kid or subsequently, have you ever seen this in 3D?
No, I haven't actually, because I don't like 3D, like it hurts me. But
yeah, generally I don't. But there's about 3 or 4 sequences of like a train
going over, like it'd be a dope like
like a
roller coaster in real life, or
yeah. You can see the theme parkiness of that part. So like I could see where that would be like really cool in 3D. And like I like the message of this movie. Even as an atheist, I'm okay with movies that are about, you know, believing in Santa Claus even when you can't see him and all that sort of thing. But, here's the other thing that bugs me. The score.
What?
All right. Every time the movie wants you to feel something, they unpack.
It's a great score.
But here's the thing, they give you that 10 notes and then they just go back to like generic fill-in music. Like it never, that score, that 10 notes, the thing that you leave the theater stuck in your mind never builds to anything. They just keep unpacking it over and over again. And it doesn't like create it. There's not a score. It's literally 10 notes and then just surrounded by like noodling. I was amazed because I thought the first time they brought it out, I was like, oh yeah, I remember this. This is the score. I keep hearing it over the years. It's become anthemic, but it's those 10 notes and then just a bunch of nothing. And I'm sorry, there is no excuse for Elf Aerosmith. That is just horrifying.
Accurate. That's accurate.
Horrifying.
That wasn't what we needed.
No, not at all. So yeah, I think this movie is kind of hideous, but I see where if you see it as a kid and you are, you know, and that animation is something that's kind of new and you're just sort of taking it at face value, if you will, that it would be like, you know, yeah, because it does pack in the snow and the elves and the Santa-ness of it all and the vintage railroad and all that kind of stuff. So I see what the appeal is. I see why you like it. I still think you're wrong to like it because it's bad. But I love you, Bran.
Thank you. So I want to say a few things here.
Please.
One, as someone who saw this as a kid, I actually didn't really realize how bad the animation was until someone pointed it out to me. Like I'm just blind to the fact that it was bad. So the animation is very bad, and there's all sorts of record on that being bad. So I don't need to dive into that. I think the thing that's changed for me over the years is having children, because this movie becomes terrifying when you have children. The thought of a train showing up outside of your house and your child getting on the train, it's terrifying.
Yeah, if you see a van in your neighborhood with the Polar Express painted on the side, like alert the authorities immediately.
It's like I'm watching this with my 4-year-old, and I'm like, buddy, don't do this. I know this is really fun. Just don't do this. Don't get on the train. Don't get on the train.
Ask mommy first.
There's so much about it that's bad. There's just random kids, random children, all thrown on a cart, no adult supervision, sugared up, on ice.
No bathrooms on that train.
Not that I can tell. Not that I can tell. Going up on there, going out. The ice is breaking. This is a disaster.
There is that. Like, it's like not only are we putting children on a train, but we're like their lives are at risk constantly. It's like, thanks, Santa.
This is, but at least so you have so many questions. You're left with so many questions, such as, did this actually happen? Like, did it? Because the next day, Christmas morning, he wakes up and he pulls
the robe is unripped.
Pulls the robe. The robe's unripped.
But he explicitly tells Billy, who I could have sworn was the youngest kid from Malcolm in the Middle. Like I thought maybe he had come in to be the model. It's not. It's just coincidentally that it looks like him. He tells him, this is not a dream. This is really happening. And then the gift from Santa sort of confirms it. But yeah, it does kind of, put both sides against the middle.
Yeah. I love this movie for what it is. It makes me, to me, I'm down with it. I'm abundantly aware that the animation's real cruddy, that it's very padded. That's accurate. Here's the tough thing is, like, even like for me, the whole train ride works. The stuff from the North Pole, when they get off the train, go through the North Pole, and then get to Santa, that all for me has always been like, well, why do we got to do this whole thing? Like, let's just get to Santa. So like, but the train stuff to me is fun. Like, I love all the train stuff. It works. I get it. I love it. I think it's a delight. And that's
how does it play for your kids who are exposed to more up-to-date versions of animation?
They love it.
Yeah,
they love it, and they love the music. They love the hot chocolate song. I mean, there's a reason. It is bad. Like I can't keep going back to. There's a reason why this is on TV, because so is Deck the Halls, and so is movies that we've talked about that should not be played every year. Right. But I think this is a really. There's not a lot of full length Christmas movies for the whole family, like cartoon, like there's the Grinch and Arthur Christmas.
Sure.
Like the newest Grinch I think is good for kids.
Yeah.
Arthur Christmas works for kids. Like what other Long Boys? Like there's a lot of great shorts. Like there's a lot of great cartoon TV specials and stuff like that. But full length feature film cartoons for the kids. So I think that's why it keeps getting in the mix. And I think trains work for kids. Like they freaking love trains. Like there's something about trains that just work for every child. And so there's a lot to this that I think works, and why it gets played every single year, and why, because I watched it when I was younger, it works for me.
Totally understood. I get all of that. And again, I think the book still holds up. And, I think that, if it steers people to the book, then so much the better. But I can sense this idea of we have to add more stuff to happen. Even then it's not even like it all accumulates to anything. It's just there to throw in some peril and tension and stakes that are immediately dissipated once whatever the current problem is solved.
Yeah. This is a movie that I think I would like to see redone, but in live action. And because like even if you do like some of the like similar bits like with the ice cracking, like there's like there's a good enough special effects to make that still work in live action.
The idea of what constitutes a live action movie now is so wobbly anyway. Like people talk about
Lion King.
Exactly, the live action Lion King. The live action nothing.
The tree's real. Literally, maybe. Literally, all they did is they just took scenes from like the stuff they already have for Disney Nature. And they're like, let's throw a lion on it. That's all they did.
Basically,
I think that you could do that. Like, I would like to see it redone.
Sure,
because I think there's good bones here. I think I agree with what you're saying. There's a lot of padding, and this version would have been better as a short, as like a 30-minute fun time.
Yeah, and it's not like you can't take a kid's book and expand it out. Like that was one of the things I like most about the Grinch, the recent animated one that you talked about, because I think one of the problems with the one you're going to subject me to at some point, the Ron Howard version, that one also feels like, oh, backstory, we got to stretch this thing out. And I felt like the Illumination version kind of organically figured out a way to turn this into, a long form.
It was really good. Really good.
Yeah.
So, I mean, it's a runaway train movie. Like there's stuff you can do to make it still fun. I would enjoy seeing that. Personally, as while we're in the business of remaking movies, because that's all we do nowadays.
Indeed,
I would take one of those.
And it would be great to have a new version without the whole Eddie Deason of it all, who is like the last time you picked a movie it had Kevin Spacey, and this time Eddie Deason. Like at the turn of the millennium films, like there's just one person after another who's like messing it all up for everybody.
Yeah, because no one ever did anything in the 50s. It was all above board. Let's do Christmas feels. Let's talk about what this movie does for us when it comes to the feels and the Christmas time and all that stuff. Where would you put this on the ranking?
I mean, again, I think you get a lot of the trappings. You get a very grand North Pole with a big tree and Santa's sleigh and the reindeer. It's funny, like the Santa in these movies is always like so jolly and so kind, and then out comes that whip.
I've always thought that this Santa's just like sad. He's just he's sad. He's not very jolly.
He's kind of stern. This one, granted. But like feeling wise, it doesn't give me those sort of like holiday movie warm and fuzzies that I like. But again, this movie doesn't work for me in a lot of ways, and that's probably why I'm sure for you get an annual dose of that that you would watch these movies for. So I'm a little lower on it. I'm probably more like a 5.5, but I totally get that you're going to be higher.
Yeah, I'm like an 8 or 9. Like this is a Christmas movie. It's all about the Christmas, and so there's lots of it to go around. Yeah, Santa needs to take a chill pill though. Like that whip is intense.
Huge.
And like those I am of the firm belief that Santa's sack is not that. Like how they do it in Tim Allen's Santa Claus is how it works. Like it is a bag that gets replenished house to house.
What is it? The room of requirement in the Harry Potter movies?
It's like
open it and the thing you need is there.
It's like, yeah, sure, Santa's magic, but we can't the bag. It's got to be full. Like there's nothing that no, those poor reindeer can't handle that. That's a lot. Yeah, they're struggling to get up, and Santa's like, "No, go."
They even give like the younger sister that line at the beginning of the movie that the sleigh would be is the size of an ocean liner to carry all those toys, and you think, okay, well, we're going to work around that somehow by making the bag, but no, it's just gonna be one big ass bag on that sleigh, and
that's right.
Go for it.
That's all there is to it. But yeah, there's plenty of Christmas feels for me, and also Tom Hanks feels. If you have ever been in your life and you've been like, man, I need like a whole heap and pile of Tom Hanks, this movie's for you. This movie's for you.
No shortage of Tom Hanks.
He just does it all in this one, and I hope that he got paid handsomely for it.
One would hope.
One would, because he needs more money. He doesn't have enough.
I don't know if his agent really knew to ask for more money, but I suspect maybe that conversation was had.
I'm sure it did. What would you compare it to? What's a movie that if you maybe didn't like it because of the animation is something that you could go for?
Well, one of my recommendations is actually the movie that we're doing next episode, so I'll hold off on that one. But
okay.
I would also recommend The Christmas Chronicles 2.
Yeah.
The second of the Kurt Russell Netflix movies, because that one's more North Pole centric. And I think it really, it gives you this idea of this place that is both sort of magically Christmassy, but also a working, functioning, toy workshop and warehouse and, distribution center, all the things that the North Pole has to be. And I think it captures it pretty well.
There's a solid Thomas the Train Christmas special that was on Netflix for a while. Okay. I don't know if it's still on there, but if you have kids that are really into trains, it's a good one too. It was like a standalone thing, so you don't have to like hunt through the seasons.
Gotcha.
Of the 1,000 seasons of Thomas the Train.
Engine, yeah. One of my nephews was obsessed with Thomas when he was a really little kid.
Dude, there's something about trains that are just mesmerizing to children.
Yeah, well, it's they're like big construction equipment, but they go places.
Where are they going? What are they up to? I don't know. Pipe down, child. I don't have the schedule in front of me. Gosh. All right.
Have an itinerary.
You mentioned next week's movie, so I will give you the floor. I'll take off my headphones, and you can let me know when I can come back.
So this is another movie about Santa Claus in the North Pole, but it's pretty bizarre, but in a pretty great way. You might have seen it on Mystery Science Theater 3000. I have come around over the years to actually enjoying it unironically. It's the 1959 Mexican Santa Claus.
You did it? Great.
Yeah.
I can't wait. Well, I'm going to leave now. And next time you see me, you can tell me what we're going to watch, and I will go watch it. I'm very excited for it.
I look forward to our reunion.
Until next time, may I be the first to wish you go get yourself some hot chocolate.
Merry Christmas.